Hello, and welcome to part 6 of Formulae and Functions in MS Excel 2007. In this video, we are going to look at some small example functions in Microsoft Excel 2007 and how to use them. We shall be looking at simple functions such as sum, product, average, min, max, and some date-related functions such as now and today. Let's get right onto the topic. Sum. We have already used sum function in our last demonstration videos, and the syntax of the sum function is sum, the function name, followed by number 1, number 2. You can give any number of arguments which have to be numbers. Now you can specify the arguments either as simple numbers or cell references or range of cells or a mix of numbers and cell references. And the sum will calculate the total of all the numbers supplied as arguments and return the value, calculated value. Let's quickly demonstrate the use of sum using the marks spreadsheet that we have. So to calculate the sum of marks over all the 4 subjects that a student has scored, we could invoke the sum function and supply the 4 subjects that he has scored, and we get the total. We have seen this already in the other demonstration videos, and we can copy that formula to the other students to get the total marks that individual students have got. Let's see the next example formula or function that we want to look at, which is called the product. So the product is a function which multiplies all the numbers that you provide as arguments. So the syntax of product is very similar to sum, where you have product followed by the arguments which are different numbers. You can give any number of numbers, and the function would return the product value of multiplying all these numbers together. Once again, the arguments can be a mix of simple numbers and cell references. Let's go back to our spreadsheet, and let us say that I want to convert the computer science marks of each of this student. Instead of calculating it for the maximum of 200, they have been scored for a maximum of 200. Suppose I want to convert it to a maximum of 1000. The way I'm going to do that is to invoke the product function and then specify that I need this multiplied by 5. As I said, we can do a mix of cell reference and a simple number. So we do this and we get the value of Amar's marks converted to a maximum of 2000. Now the same thing copied to other students, provide us the values of their marks as rounded off to as normalized against a maximum of 1000 marks for computer science. Let's move on to the next example function, which is average. The average function calculates the arithmetic mean of given numbers. The numbers are supplied as arguments in the same syntax as sum and product. Average followed by the arguments. The arguments can be simple numbers or cell references or a mix. So let's go back to our spreadsheet and see how we can get the average marks per subject in each of these subjects. So let's invoke the average function. Now we need to give a range of values. So we choose the 4 values that we want to take the average on, or 5 values, the 5 different students' marks, and we get what's the total, what's the average mark that we have among all 5 students for English. So the same formula to be used across other subjects, we simply copy the formula and we get what's the average mark in the other subjects and what's the average total marks. Let's look at the max function next. So the max function displays the maximum value in a given range of values or series of values. Once again, its format or syntax is very similar to the other mathematical functions, max followed by a series of numbers, and the numbers supplied as arguments can be either simple numbers or cell references or a mix. So let's find out what's the maximum mark that maximum of the marks that the 5 students have scored. So to find out that, we invoke the max function and then supply the marks that they have scored, and there you go. It finds out that 79 is the maximum marks in English, and once again we can copy this formula to other subjects to find out what is the maximum that has been scored in each of the subject, as well as what's the maximum total marks that any one of these 5 students have scored. Similarly, we will look at how to make use of min function. Min function displays minimum value in a given series of values, very similar to the max function, and you need to supply a collection of numbers, and it would tell you the minimum out of the given values. So let's see how do we find out the minimum in the marks of given subject. So let's invoke min and then supply the range of values across which we want to find out the minimum value, and we got 68 as the minimum mark in English. And if we copy that function onto other subjects, we are able to find out what's the minimum value in each of the subjects and what was the minimum value across the total marks scored by the 5 students. Apart from these simple mathematical functions, there are also other types of functions such as date and time functions. So let's look at now function. The now function displays the current date and time. It takes no arguments. So you simply invoke it by calling the function by its name, supplying no additional argument. So let me put here, invoke that function here. Let me put now. And there you go. You can see the date and time as I invoke that function. Similar to the now function, we have today function, which just displays the date without any time. Once again, similar to the now function, it doesn't take any argument, and you invoke it by simply calling the function name. So let's invoke it here, and we see that it returns only the date without the time. Hope you enjoyed this video. Until we see in the next video. Thanks.